May 23rd, 2016 meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ansello? Here. Ms. Boyce is excused. Chairwoman DeFlorio?
Here.
Ms. Cayley? Here. Mr. Moyo? Here. Dr. Carbone? Here.
Moving on to public forum, is there anyone signed up for the public forum tonight?
There is not.
Is there anyone present who has not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? Seeing none, moving on to the approval of the minutes. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. You have the February 22nd, 2016 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. At this time, we have a presentation by Rochelle Bell, Senior Environmental Planner for the Planning and Economic Development Department. She will give a brief overview of the 2017-2022 Capital Improvement Program as it pertains to the Planning and Economic Development Committee. Thank you for being here, Rochelle.
So I'm Rochelle Bell. I'm representing my department with the Capital Improvement Program. According to the charter, it is our role and responsibility to run this process, bring this plan together. So I'm going to start off with a brief overview of our process and just let you know how that works. So you all should have received a copy of this green booklet. This is the 2017-2022 proposed Capital Improvement Program. This one is being proposed to you, the legislature, by County Executive Cheryl Donalfo and the Monroe County Planning Board. So the way this worked was in the fall of 2015, the CIP Capital Improvement Program Review Committee asked the departments to submit their request for their program for the 17-22 program. The review committee is chaired by the Deputy County Executive and includes staff from finance, law, planning and development, engineering, transportation, and environmental services. So we gave the department guidelines to follow when submitting their program, and those guidelines included consistency with the previous year's program and a request that they add new projects to the end of the CIP, so starting in year 2022. So we also asked that they try to reduce their budget by 10%. So in the end, what we have proposed to you is a CIP that's 9% less than the total funding of last year's CIP. And we have 10 new projects, 2 of which are introduced in year 2022. The balance are not, but there's good justification and good reasons why they had to be introduced earlier. So throughout the fall, the CIP Review Committee worked with the departments to come up with a CIP that the county executive then proposed to the county planning board. And throughout the winter, the planning board reviewed the CIP. They prioritized the projects that are in the budget year. The capital budget year is 2017. It's the first year of the CIP. And we came up with a version that you see today that's being presented to you. In July, there will be a public hearing on the CIP, and it will hopefully pass. I'll be happy to take questions when you get to this item on the agenda.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is new business. Mr. Clerk.
Referral 16-0164.
Do I have a second? Moved by Legislator Ansello, seconded by Legislator Carbone. Is there any discussion? Yes, Legislator Cayley.
For you to the administration, I did have a couple questions on this one. And if I could find out why, since this is aimed at the suburbs in the county, Greece and Irondequoit are missing, and could you explain why through the chair?
Through you, Mrs. Chair, the towns of Greece and Arundecoit, they obtain their own funding.
Thank you, and then just for my own information through the chair, is that unusual in New York State? Or does that happen throughout counties?
Through the chair, no, it's not unusual. It's common.
Thank you. And then if I might, could you tell me through the chair when the public hearings were?
The first public hearing was, through the chair, the first public hearing was in January, and the last one was, the most current one was earlier this month in May.
Thank you. And then the location?
The location was, through the chair, the location was at the Watts Building.
Thank you. And then just an opinion, were you at all troubled that there were no comments? Were there attendees through the chair?
Through the chair, it's not uncommon that there's not comments at the second public hearing. Oftentimes there'd be some comments at the first public hearing.
But I understand through the chair that there were none at the first public hearing?
This particular time, through the chair, there were no comments at this first public hearing.
Thank you. Was there anyone there through the chair?
Through the chair, yes, there were people there.
Could you tell me how many through the chair?
Through the chair, I don't have an exact number.
Thank you. And then through the chair, is there a plan going forward? I realize that I'm a little latitude with this one. When you get no feedback through the chair, is there a consideration that when we go forward and this is done again, that it might be conducted slightly differently to accommodate for more people to attend these meetings and perhaps be able to give you feedback on this?
Through the chair, there's certainly consideration going forward to address that, yes.
Thank you, and I guess latitude, I would suggest that perhaps since we are dealing with suburban areas, that we actually conduct one or two of them in a suburban area. The Watts Building is a little less conducive, but that's just my opinion. Thank you. The other thing that I wanted to ask was, through the chair, there's an increase of a little over $23,000. Was there any specific reason through HUD that we were given more money this year?
Through the chair, the calculations, it's sometimes somewhat unpredictable, so there wasn't a direct answer to that, no.
Thank you. The reason I ask through the chair is because we recently learned that HUD and the federal trend is toward permanent housing versus transitional housing, with some agencies losing. And I wondered through the chair if they felt that this might have anything to do with that.
Through the chair, that I don't have a specific answer to.
Thank you. And then could you tell me through the chair of the extra $23,000 how that was divvied up? I guess was a percentage, or did you center it around the programs that you felt were the most important? Thank you. Through the chair.
Through the chair, the funding is gone through a screening and a qualification process in order to determine how it's spent and how much goes to what particular source or fund.
Then thank you through the chair. Could I get something in writing that shows what those qualifications ended up being for the programs this time?
Through the chair, yes, you can.
Thank you. Okay.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0165.
Moved by Legislator Ansello, seconded by Legislator Carbone. Any discussion? Legislator Kaley?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I see that there were, it was noted that there were a number of drafts of changes and edits, and I'm glad that it reflects some correct spelling on the front of the CIP, so that's good. Thank you. I did have a question again asking
For a little latitude on this one, as the improvements to buildings are done on the buildings that are owned by the county, my concern.
Could you just move your mic a little closer, please? Thank you.
I just sound so loud to myself.
It's just to pick up on the audio
Okay.
recording.
I don't want you to pick that up. Mr.
For
Mr.
those-
Clerk, I don't want you to have that.
For those people watching at home,
Oh, thank you. Let me try this again. Be it that this plan is aimed at buildings that we own through the chair, my concern is the process, and again, I'm just asking for a little bit of latitude on this. At what point do we address buildings that we do not own, but we have a large staff at and receive a number of people in and out on a daily basis, and I am speaking specifically about 416 St. Paul. And I could take this answer in writing at a later date unless you want to deal with it now, but I would like to know how we handle negotiations for upgrades to that building. I am a firm believer that that building needs something done. Thank you, through the chair.
Through the chair, the nature of improvements on that particular building is a facet of the lease agreement and negotiations with the property owner. And those improvements may or may not, based on how those things are negotiated, actually appear in the capital improvement plan. However, we will get together with Tim Murphy of Real Property and determine when that lease is up, and which I don't know the answer to at this time, and let you know what that is so that you're aware of when the negotiation period may begin.
Thank you.
great. Any further questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries. Moving on to other matters. Are there any other matters to come before this committee tonight? Seeing none, the May 23rd, 2016 meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee will be held on Monday, June 27th, 2016 at 5:15 p.m.